Hey, it's Soul. It's the first day of the last month of 2017. It's December 1st. This is Warcraft Weekly, and that's Bob over there, and let's get started with the show. This week was busy. We had the new raid, we have a new patch coming in. I'm going to be talking about that stuff, but as for how my week was, well, I was able to get the Antorus raid done. We all got together. I finally got to see the cool cinematic, and I'll be talking just a little bit about that in just a moment. Me and my team, after beating the last boss, we took a pose on top of that giant honking sword thing, and then we got knocked off by a druid, and then we went back up and killed it, and then we took some screenshots, and that was the week. As always, this is the space for you to brag, to bitch, to air your grievances, or to otherwise share how your week was. With that said, I'm going to get right to it and announce the winner of the BlizzCon goodie bag, and that winner is Spaceboy. Yay! Spaceboy writes, "Hey Soul, I love WoW not just because it's where I met my wife, but because it was a fantastic social outlet for me, as I've aged and slowly ran out of RL's social activities. It's always got something to keep me occupied, and my guildmates make the time enjoyable beyond the gameplay itself. Thanks a ton, Spaceboy, and congratulations." So, I guess what you'll need to do is to send me a direct message over Twitter or Facebook or YouTube or whatever the heck. Send me your address and you're gonna get a cool BlizzCon backpack full of stuff. Well, I don't have it on me. It's already boxed up and ready to go. I just need your information and I'll slap that thing and, you know, off it goes. I also want to thank everyone else who entered in the contest and said their own thing as to why they love the World of Warcraft. I have all that stuff kind of compressed together in a cool little anniversary video that I shared for everybody. So take a look and like the fuck out of it. Or you can talk smack, right? Right. Okay, this week's featured YouTube, you know what? Okay, you know, I thought of featuring a certain guildmate who happens to have a YouTube channel and make him the featured YouTuber, but maybe I'll talk to him first. So I'll hold off on that for now. Well, now that I just ruined my own segment, if you know of any YouTubers that has 10,000 or less subscribers that you think should get a little bit more attention, send them my way. I'll take a look and I'll feature them in a future episode. All right, so Antorus, the Burning Throne, is finally live and it's done. This is the raid that we've all been waiting for ever since, well, ever since we found out that we were going to be doing this, okay? Now, this is like a thing that we've been looking for ever since we've even heard of the Burning Legion, which was like a really, really long time ago. As of now, or at least for now, the Burning Crusade is over. Sargeras is captured. They have all gone away. Argus is no longer in the sky. It's just a little, you know, twinkle on our eye at this point. But I'm going to like just briefly commentate on a few highlights of the raid and the cinematic. I'm not going to get into like this full analysis thing. There are tons and tons of videos that are already out doing that, showcasing the videos. And, you know, just go to MMO Champion or Wowhead if you want to take a look at the video, or you can take a look at the many different other deep dive analyses for it. I'm just gonna like just rush through stuff, okay? Here we go. So as soon as you even walk into the Antorus raid, you're surrounded by like Lightforged Draenei and like Terralians there, and there's like some golems there, and it's like, all right, cool, you know, let's do this. And we found that, you know, just pulling the trash, like all the Lightforged Draenei that are there, they all run in and they try to help, and they hella suck, okay? They all got their asses kicked, like easy, like pretty much throughout the entire instance. The Lightforged Draenei, you know, or the Army of the Light as a whole, they were pretty damn useless. Like, they threw down little teleport things, and then they showed up just in time to get wiped out by something, by trash, by bats, by anything. As you progress, there are little cutscenes where the Vindicar itself shows up, and all it does is fire its little Lightforged pew-pew thing to, like, open up doors. And this is even, like, right when a raid boss is in front of it. It's like, hey, dude, you could, like point your weapon thing, like, right at that, you know, right at the boss, take him out for us, and, you know, let us be on our way.
Yeah, too bad they're joining the Alliance.
Yeah, I was just gonna get to that. Now, I kind of wanted the Lightforged Draenei, you know, I wanted these allied races in Biffa. I wanted them to like all be able to join either faction, but at this point, at least regarding the Lightforged Draenei, sorry Alliance, you can have them. I don't want them no more, okay? All right, so we get through the raid, we kill a bunch of bosses, there's a bunch of lore, and I'll talk about some of that stuff later. We get to Agromar, we kick his ass, and then we get to this initial cinematic, and then there he is again. Agromar's just chilling there. He's like, whatever, dude.
Seriously, you went around taking selfies.
Yeah. I mean, come on, dude. We're in freaking space. We're freaking at the we're at the seat of the Pantheon where no mortal has ever treaded, or you know, something like that. Okay, so of course I'm gonna take pictures and all that. This is a moment, you know. We as players, we never thought that we would be standing next to, like, you know, these giant planet. Okay, they're not even planet size at this point, but you know, we never thought that we would be at this, you know, juncture.
Yeah, but it's way to escalate.
Yeah, good point. Anyway, last thing on Agromar, we just kicked his ass. He was right over there chilling on the chair. We can't fight Titans, okay? We barely like scratched him. He's like, okay, whatever. Okay, you knocked me out of my, you know, insanity mind control thing, but pff, hurt me? Bitch, please. So after that fight, and I think it was a pretty awesome fight, so far at least, we get to the cool cinematic, and the first thing that I notice is like, what is Sargeras doing under that blanket, right? You know he's up to like some shenanigans, you feel me? Like, come on, dude, modesty. Like, he just couldn't wait. He's like, hey, they're looking the other way. I'm gonna rush over and like wrap my arms and legs around the planet, put this, you know, big fog blanket around myself so no one can see what I'm actually doing. What is he doing though? Is he whispering sweet nothings into Azeroth's ear? Is he like just kind of humping the thing? I don't know. But clearly the Pantheon is like, no, well, let's get him out of here. And Sargeras is pissed. He's like, oh, you caught me, how dare you? And I'm like, so mad, I'm just gonna, you know, bring up the sword and like stab the motherfucker right, you know, right in the face. Sandy bug-filled face, whatever, you know. And this is me being very, very nitpicky, of course, but you know, he could have just reached out to the seat of the Pantheon and just went like smush, you know, that was it. He's like, who cares if they're distracted? I'm just gonna swat all these motherfuckers out of the sky, and that's it. And then I'll get to, you know, the business with Azeroth. Apparently though, he was like, oh, I couldn't help myself, I moved on her like a bitch. And you gotta wonder, like, there are people on that planet still, right? They're under the sheets. Like, what are they seeing?
Probably hot under them sheets, huh?
Okay, but here's what kills me. So the Pantheon, they value life. They want to keep the world soul of Azeroth alive and all that stuff. You know, they went through great lengths in the very, very distant past to make sure that Azeroth was secured by creating the Titan Forge, then doing all that stuff. In this case, you know, they save Azeroth. They pull Sargeras out of there, and then they leave. Bye. See ya. Did they even have an idea what like the state of Azeroth is at this point? I'm gonna guess that they do, but it's, you know, they could have done a little bit more besides like peace out like real quick. They could have, you know, like re-empowered their Titan Forged armies. They could have set up some world trees. They could have, you know, back to the whole Titan Forge thing, they could have re-empowered the aspects. I don't know, there could have been cool things that they could have done. I know that at this point the Titans are just not what they used to be. I mean, they're essentially all spirits. Even Sargeras now, his body was destroyed way back in the day. And lore freaks, please correct me if I'm wrong here, because chances are I am. You know, Sargeras doesn't have you know, the same kind of power level that he did back in the heyday either. So that at least explains how the Pantheon was able to put a stop to Sargeras this time without him totally kicking their asses like he did way back in the day. All right, so let's move on to Illidan, and for me, this is like an internal joke, like an internal gag for me. I don't know if you guys share this thought with me, but there's like little something between Illidan and Velen. Like you see in the previous cutscenes, they're pretty chummy, you know, with Illidan giving his that little seductive grin of his, and Velen just kind of acknowledging it. And then the same thing happens here, where they seem to have reached an understanding in certain respects, but at the same time, there seems to be a little something under that. Like, it seems just a little bit too chummy, right? Like, I can see a whole, you know, Illidan Velen ship, right? Or, you know, Veladin. Nah. Yeah. So Velen's story is done. The rift is closed. Oh, and speaking of the rift, it looks like that's just another thing that our artifact weapons are not going to be sacrificed for. Thank God. I'm still holding out hope that we'll just lay down our artifact weapons and just kind of retire from our post as High Lord or whatever. Tangent over, back to Velen. So his story is effectively over. I'm just kind of curious, like, what's he going to be doing next? Is he going to be, you know, refocusing his efforts on like the Lightforged Draenei and whatever is going to be happening there? Is he going to be, be kind of like Tyrion Fordring, when his story was effectively done? Is he just going to kind of do his own thing? So it's a little bit up in the air, but we know that his story, his major arc is over. As for Illidan, this final cinematic just kind of highlights the kind of person Illidan was and what his motivations were the entire time. All he wanted to do was just fuck up Sargeras. He wanted to get a crack at that motherfucker and take him down. He wanted to fight, and he had like 10,000 plus years to just stew his anger and plan and get ready for this moment. When you look back at everything was just, one escalation after another to lead up to this very moment. So he earned it. But while it does make him very consistent and not the whole child of light and shadow that some of us were scared of, in the end it feels like he was a very shallow character. Like his return in Legion, it was very empty. There was no further development for him. In fact, Illidan was the device that that pushed the whole story along. Like if it wasn't for his long laid out plans to use the Sargerite keystone to open the portal to Argus, how long would the Legion have been a threat? If it wasn't for him, Kil'jaeden would have been the last boss of Legion, essentially. And, then we would just kind of hold things off until the next time. In this case, cool Illidan runs off with the rest of the Pantheon. And I swear, I really thought that when he was walking towards that seat, I was like, dude, this motherfucker's gonna take the chair. He's gonna take Agramar's Sargeras' old chair and be like, yeah, I'm motherfucking Pantheon now. But off he goes, not fully knowing what's gonna happen. We have no idea what's gonna happen on the seat of the Pantheon now that, all the Titans and this captured Sargeras is there and Illidan's there too. I mean, the Titans might be like, who are you? Like, hey, we didn't invite you here, mortal, and then they just like kill him. just like that. Or like they accidentally step on him or something. So now it's over. It's now just Azeroth and a big-ass sword right in the middle of it. And I'm still just kind of like, okay, the Titans just watched Sargeras stab the crap out of Azeroth, and all they did was like run away. It's like, all right, let's get out of here. They didn't do jack to help the planet. They could have done something. They could have helped. I mean, well, okay, God, I can't just get off of this now. Why did Sargeras stab the damn planet in the first place? I mean, my hope was that, like, while he was, in bed with Azeroth under the sheets, he could have been like, hey, so by the way, the Void Lords are coming and it's going to be really bad. For all we know, he was just kind of, whispering tips. It's like, hey, here's what to do, in case things go down. Nope. Instead, it gets stabbed and the Pantheon does nothing to help it out. Again, definitely a departure from what could have been done. I know that at the end, Velen just kind of sighs, and I think the intent there was that it's a sigh of relief. It's like, it's over. There's no more running for my people. My people are safe. And Sargeras is done. The Burning Crusade is over. But it's a doublespeak, right? Or at least the way that I see it. It's like he's sighing, he's like, they didn't do anything about that goddamn sword. Those idiots. So in the end, thanks Pantheon, you should have just let Sargeras finish the job. Now we've got this to deal with. And each other. And the old gods. And the Void.
Oh well.
So now that that's over, and with the Mythic race going to be starting next week, now we can look at 735. There's going to be a lot to cover, but in the meantime, here are the major features. First and foremost is what is available at the moment, which is the entire level revamp. This is one of the biggest changes coming about in recent memory. I'm pretty excited for it. I have one concern about it though. But the way I see it, once I hit level 10 on any toon, I could just go to like the highest, whatever place on Azeroth, in the classic areas, and just find the highest mob density spots, and I can just do this. I can see it. It's pretty much bound to happen. The other major part of this patch is that this is the second time since the Wrath of the Lich King to Cataclysm transition, where we had like a big story forwarding push thing happen that wasn't exactly part of like the systems patch, the 1 month that happens right before the next expansion's launch. War is coming once again, and this time it is for the precious resource called Azerite. As far as it looks, Azerite's going to spring up in Silithus, and during Biffa, during the Battle for Azeroth expansion, it's going to spring up all over the world. We're not there yet, so if you look at live servers, we see that big old honking sword in the ground, and a lot of nothing else. In the PTR though, we see a little bit of establishment there. We see like a small horde in Alliance base. We even see the Twilight cultists appearing, and there's a little bit of story around there. On top of that, we're going to get a battleground to kind of give us a little bit more ambiance as to, what is the state of the world in a post-Burning Legion kind of world. And the other curious thing are these new embassies that are opening up both in Orgrimmar and Stormwind that are housing all of the faction leaders, which, depending on what kind of realm that you're on, this is your opportunity to fight all of them at the same time. Might be fun. So I don't get why there are embassies suddenly being built, but that kind of tells me that just before the 7.3.5 patch launches, there's probably going to be some sort of story that's going to transition us over, just like many of the patches here in Legion, where we've had little bits of story, small quests and scenarios that have helped lead us into what's going to happen next. Here's the question though: where's Wrathion? Is it Wrathion? I don't know if it's like a soft, in Wrathion, or is it a hard Wrathion? Whatever, I'm just bad at that, okay?
Yeah, we know.
What we do have, though, are a lot of assets and a lot of questions to ask from everything that we're seeing on the PTR so far. First off, the new models for the Horde faction leaders, for Saurfang and the Thanos, who I guess is a faction leader now, kind of, sort of, as well as Bane Bloodhoof. Ooh, man. Badass, dude. They look freaking awesome. The only thing that's missing is just kind of a new voice set for Saurfang. I'm really looking forward to what he's going to be sounding like. There are a bunch of new armor models too, except for what looks like to be, I don't know, these assless chaps over here. I think they missed a spot. But what's curious is that we're seeing a lot more than I thought that we would from just the PTR. Now I'm going to read from a part of this blue post, and then I'm going to speculate a little bit. They say that other features you'll see on the PTR over the next few weeks include Old War Time Walk-In, which I didn't mention. Hey, Old War Time Walk-In is coming. A preview of the new This Battleground, and a few other bits of content that get into the aftermath of the events in Antorus, and set the stage for the upcoming conflict in Battle for Azeroth. Note that since development of the new expansion is now in full swing, data mining sites are likely to see some bits and pieces of features that are part of Battle for Azeroth, such as allied races. And that makes me wonder, we're seeing a lot of stuff that's coming from like this whole the whole allied race stuff. We're seeing background talk, we're seeing pretty much the scenarios and how they play out. Of course it's not testable yet, but it just makes me wonder, when are we going to get access to these quests that allow us to unlock allied races? And I have a pretty good feeling it's going to be sooner rather than later. Like the way I see it, just like how Demon Hunters were testable, or they were playable just as soon as the systems patch came out, like about a month or so before Legion came out. I'm thinking that allied races will be available, not exactly, maybe not to play, maybe to play, but at the very least we'll be able to unlock them or go through the entire quest and scenario process of unlocking them, so that way people won't feel all that far behind. It would kind of suck, like, okay, day one of the expansion for Biffa, okay, cool, I'm gonna roll a level 1 Zandalari guy or girl, and that would kind of suck. Although actually, I think that might be a bad example. I think a better example would be like for High Mountain Tauren, as well as the Nightborn, because well, we know those lands, we've been there before, we can actually work on those. Zandalari not so much, so maybe on the Alliance side, just throwing it out there, maybe Dark Iron won't be available to try out, to progress through. Maybe you'll have to wait, but maybe some of these races you will be able to start working on with leveling, maybe sooner. Taking this even further, this sets the foundation for my theory as to what might happen over the course of this timeline between now and when Battle for Azeroth starts, where we might be getting little bits of content here and there to the point where we might not even see like this giant systems patch come in where everything changes. We might be getting some of these changes piecemeal over time instead. The way I see it though, the biggest changes that would come right before Battle for Azeroth would be us saying goodbye to our artifact weapons, as well as the game-wide stat squish. Those things will probably come a month before the expansion comes out, but before that, there are a lot of elements and features that we might be getting, bit by bit over time. So maybe it gets me a little excited that, this time between now and Battle for Azeroth isn't just going to be a lull. It's not just going to be downtime of us being bored as hell trying to do this raid. Although it probably will be. There's only so much stuff that anyone like Blizzard would be able to cram in during this normal downtime. But this sets the stage for what seems to be uncharted territory. There seems to be a lot of content that's coming, maybe not immediately, but over time. And if that's the case, I think that's something to really look forward to. There might still be a pretty long gap between the last raid, between Antorus, and the start of the new expansion. But in the meantime, if there's stuff to do, if there's stuff that they're going to be giving us, I think I'd be happy with that. Oh, and our main bag is 4 slots bigger. Ooh. And that's going to wrap up the show for this week. Thanks for watching. I want to give a big thanks and a welcome to all the new subscribers. Hi, welcome. And as always, I encourage all of you to like this video, to subscribe, and to support this channel the best way that you know how. Leave a comment or suggestions below. You can take a look at the links down in the description for some of the videos that you might have missed from me this week. And of course, I want to give a shout out to my patrons. They're the ones that keep this channel running with their real life cash money. So if you're interested in helping the channel out and all it takes is $1, check out the link below. Of course, tune in next week for all things World of Warcraft. I'll see you for the next video or the next stream. But until then, stay safe, stay happy, and stay breezy.